Hey everybody, what is up? Trying to see if I could do a video here. Uh, Obviously the title of this video is Beginning Guitar for Beginners, by a beginner. Now, I want to say that with a little bit of, I want to preface it by saying I'm not a, beginner. I've been playing for about 20 years, but don't let that, intimidate you. You could never tell I've been playing for 20 years. Off and on for 20 years. I started when I was a teenager, and one of the things that I just never wanted to do, never had the patience for, was learning music and stuff, like learning the actual theory. So let me get closer to make sure. So basically, I was good at, I can do chords, and stuff like that. I can go. That kind of stuff, but that's like pretty much all I can do. I was never disciplined enough to actually learn any theory, learn anything about music. When I tried to take guitar lessons at a music store when I was 15, I wanted to be Eddie Van Halen, and my guitar teacher was like, "No, you got to start at the bottom. You got to play When the Saints Go Marching In." And I'm like, "What the hell?" I had no interest in that, so I never went back there. I just basically taught myself stuff, but I really didn't know anything about music. I didn't know any notes other than, the string notes, E, A, D, G, B, E. And I just tried to learn songs and stuff. Very, very difficult back then in the early 90s, because there was no internet. There was no, websites where you could go to learn tab and stuff like that. You either had to figure it out by ear, which I'm terrible at because I'm tone deaf. So I'm partially tone deaf. I can't tune by ear. And tab books were like 25 bucks a piece. And when you're 15, 16, you don't have 25 bucks a piece all the time to buy all these books. So I just basically just was like a rhythm player. I always wanted to play lead. I always wanted to learn how to solo, because that's what got me interested in guitar. Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, hearing those guys were the reason why I got into guitar. So I just kind of did that, but it can be frustrating. But I know a lot of the videos of people, on YouTube and stuff, they're like virtuosos. They're like just like this, and then they're like, okay, here's how you get there. And it's very intimidating to see that. You're like, man, they just make it look so, they're just like, just like going nuts all over the fretboard, and you're like, damn it, I can't even. And you're struggling to like that. So I wanted to make a series of videos. Hopefully, some of the stuff I still know how to do. Obviously the chords, that's just kind of burned into my brain because I was a rhythm player for so long. I never did any lead stuff. But as I got older, lately, I really want to learn to solo. I want to be able to play lay down a nice blues track or something, and then throw a nice solo over top of it. So I started getting back into it. And I would say, the level of this beginner, whatever, would be if chords, some chords, like a G chord, E chord right here, an A, the minors and all that other stuff, a D. If you know all that, you don't have to be fluid in it and anything like that. And C, you don't have to be able to be fluid. But if you know them, you're already ahead of the game. One thing I will, so I'm just going to, basically just kind of telling the story here. This is my my Epiphone Les Paul here, as you can see, custom with the gold hardware. It's got EMG pickups in here. I bought this used, but this thing is amazing. It's a beast. It's awesome. I love playing this thing. And now I have a couple guitars, which I don't think you can kind of see them. Let me get out of the way for a second. So there's 3 other ones right here. There's an acoustic, 2 electrics. There's actually an electric over here on a stand that I need to restring. But so I basically have 4 electric guitars and 1 acoustic. Now, one tip I will share with you if you're just starting out is, my advice would be learn on an acoustic guitar. Reason being, that's just my feeling. That's what I did when I was learning chords, is because it's harder, a lot harder to push down and build up the finger strength. So if you can play notes clean on an acoustic, usually you can play notes clean on an electric, since the strings aren't as hard. So in this series of video, I'm hoping that we can improve together. So I've been basically playing for about 3 months, almost every night, maybe for like 45 minutes to an hour a night, just practicing a lot of stuff. And one of the things that I'll tell you makes it a lot easier to grasp these concepts is to know, and again, I still don't know it all, but I'm trying to learn it, the notes, the actual notes, like even though this is E, A, D, G, B, E, but the notes here on the fretboard. I mean, I've already, just in trying to memorize those, has helped me a lot as far as learning where to actually go, what note will sound good with what chord and all that, and kind of have little stops. And the cool thing is that, at least with the musical alphabet, it only goes to G. You don't have, not like the regular alphabet where you have to memorize all these letters or whatever. It always starts over after G, or after G sharp, I guess I should say. But there's no, the letter after G is A, and then it just repeats. Now this guitar is actually tuned a half step down. For those of you that don't know what that is, basically instead of the E, A, D, G, B, E, the standard tuning, it's tuned down to E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and E flat. The reason is, and this one always stays tuned down. Most of the other ones are standard. The reason I have this one tuned down is just because I like to play, a lot of Guns N' Roses stuff, and with bending, when you're bending the strings, the looser they are, the easier it is to bend. Of course, you can get lighter strings and all that, but still, even when they're loose, it's easier to, when you're trying to do that, it's just a lot easier. And so I like the feel of it. It sounds a tad on the darker side. It just sounds cool. So I just always leave this one tuned down a half a step. The other ones are standard. So you might want to try that. I also use some apps. Can't really show you because my phone is hooked up to the guitar. I can put some links in there, but all the apps that I use for I don't have a pedal board. The only effects pedal I have is a wah pedal. But all the other stuff, I'm basically playing. This guitar is plugged into the little iRig dealie that you can get on Amazon, and then it's plugged into my phone, and then it's plugged into my amp. And so there's a lot of free tools that you can use to help. This app that I'm using now is called Tone Bridge. It's free. I'm not getting any money for this because it's free. So, but that's for iPhone. I don't know if they have one for Android. So basically I'm hoping we can learn together, but basically the only scale I ever learned before now was, I believe it's an E scale, all the way down here. I still don't know all the positions and everything, but it basically goes, and I actually had learned an extension of it and I didn't even realize it. It basically just goes. Shut the video off because my son came over to the door, but that's basically, let me play it one more time. So that's an E scale. I don't know what position or anything. I really haven't figured that out yet, but just knowing that, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. And then basically I learned, the same one that everybody says to start learning, which is the A pentatonic scale. It was the... And then the extension, which is really cool. You can start it, it goes... those, but I'm not like super fast or anything like that. So the effects that I use, again, they're free. They plug straight into the guitar, into the amp. Have GarageBand. You know, it's really cool what you can do with a lot of this free stuff. I wish this stuff was around when I was a kid. I mean, it probably would have made learning so much easier. But you know, the one tip that I'll say, I mean, first, let me go to a clean channel here. So yeah, you know, obviously learn your chords. Now I play G weird. People say I play it weird. I play it with my ring finger on the 3rd fret, middle finger on the 2nd, and then pinky on the E string, low, high E string. But I can also play the, you know, the other one. And it's cool when you're doing like switching back and forth, that Poison. So kind of cool. Some, you know, do you learn with distortion or clean like this? I would say that's up to you. You do whatever you want, whatever's going to make you actually practice. You know, I only play for, like I said, an hour a night, but I can't, you know, I can't get crazy like some of these other guys, and they make it, they're like, oh, you want to learn how to play, you know, Blackened solo? Sure, it's just, yeah, it's a, you know, I hate it when I see that stuff. So first thing I would tell you is to learn the chords, you know, and you can kind of do them in a row if you just do like, you do the alphabet, you know, A, and then you go B, C, D, whoops, C, missed it, D, E, and F would be, actually F would be here, no, F was there, C, I still don't even know, and then G, and then back to A. So, you know, and the notes are the same, you know, so it's E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, you know, all the way up to, and by the time you get here, that's kind of the way you can test yourself, make sure you know that you're doing it correctly. When you get here on the 12th fret, the double dots, you should be at the same note as this. So you should, you know, when you count up, E, F, F sharp, G, when you do that, when you count all the notes up when you get here, you should start back at E again. If you don't, if you're at a different note, you miss something. It's the same with all the strings. So I'm hoping that we can together, you know, kind of learn this stuff and, you know, get better together. Because again, I'm not a technical beginner. Like I don't know anything, but there's no way I could like play in it. I mean, I could play rhythm in a band or something, but that's it. My fingers still hurt. Like I can't even. Couldn't play last night because my ring finger, the tip, is so sore. I just can't. I can't play. But the cool thing about the app, the ToneBridge app, is it's got like a million different combinations, and you don't have to buy a pedal. So for example, this effect is called. This is the AC/DC effect. So it sounds like AC/DC songs. Say learn at least one scale and learn the notes of the scale. This A, this is like the most popular one, so I'd say start with that one. But it took me a while to learn that. At first I was like, and then go back down till you're fluid. You know, don't try to overwhelm yourself. I would say don't even try to learn songs really at first. That's probably the mistake I made, was trying to be like other people and learn too many songs. You know, learn the chords and make up your own stuff, and then it'll be easier they'll go, oh, you'll say, oh, that's an A. Well, I know that. Instead of looking at it on the tab, like that if you know this is an A bar chord, well, you know it. But when you see it in the tab, it's weird sometimes. It says like 2-2, and then you think it's played like this. While it's the same notes, it sounds way worse. So I would say learn the bar chords first, and then start, then the tab makes more sense. At least it did to me. And then learn, I don't want to say learn all the scales. There's so many things that I'm discovering that I didn't know, back then. Like if you learn all the positions, the 5 box positions, I guess they're called. If you learn all 5 of those, well, you can use those with any key. So it's not like you have to really memorize, like 1,000 scales, so to speak, at least in the pentatonic area, at least from what I think. So I mean, like this. So this scale, this pentatonic, is in A, right? Because this is an A note right here. So this is an A scale. But if I move it here, it's a G. But it's the same pattern. So the fingering didn't change at all, just the position. So it's still, it's what is that? 5-8, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, 5-8, 5-8. Well, over here it's 5-8. I'm sorry, 3. What is that? 3-7, 3. I can't count. 3-6, 3-5, 3-5, 3-5, 3-6, 3-6. So my fingering, it's the same. So that's anywhere. So if you do it here, it's F. If you do it here, it's F sharp. If you do it here, it's G, G sharp, A. All that. But it's the same fingering. And again, it's the box shapes are the same. So wherever you're at, if you wanted to play an E, like if you're playing an E, that's the stuff I didn't know back then. Like the theory, like, well, if you're, how to figure out what key your songs are in and all that stuff. Like I had no clue. But if you generally when you start, when you start a song with an E chord, now you're in the key of E, basically, kind of. That's the way it works. So then if you want a solo, you have to use an E, something typically, again, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but for basics, you can just use an E scale, which would be here, the 12. Remember I said the 12th fret, it all starts over. Or you could use that open thingy that I was doing, like this, like. But notice if I tried to use that and play like another, if I tried to play the scale, this one, like if I played an E, it doesn't sound like it fits. Whereas this, that actually sounds like it fits together. So that's kind of the thing. So whatever note, whatever chord you're playing, whether it's if you start in G, and then you've got a G scale. So hopefully we can learn together. I would say, but my favorite, again, and mostly everybody's favorite, is the A. So look up A minor pentatonic scale and learn that. And then all you have to do is start a song in A, and you can play that. something. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, you know, so that's kind of where we'll, I guess, end it. I'll try to put the links, but the name of the app, get yourself a tuner on your phone, or if you have like the little clip-on dealie or whatever. I don't know if those down tune. The one that I use, you know, has the sharps and flats on it. So if you want to tune down, you just hit the note and it'll, you know, tell you. Those little boxy tuners from back in the day, at least the one I have, right here actually. You know, it's got, if you can see, this is one. This actually came with that $1 Goodwill guitar, but you could see this is a very vintage one. This is like one that I would have used in the 90s. You can see right here, it's got flat here and sharp. So if you know your notes, you know, if you do E flat, you could kind of use this, but I don't think it's going to tell you, like when you're actually there, it's just going to tell you, this is just for standard, I believe. So it's just going to tell you that you're flat. It's not going to tell you how flat. Like if you hit the E, I don't have any batteries in this, or otherwise I would show you. But if you hit an E and you're trying to tune down, it's going to be red, but it's not going to tell you like that you're at exactly E flat. So you have to get a different tuner. But they're free all over the App Store and everything. So I hope this video was somewhat helpful. Again, don't be intimidated by like the super awesome guitar players. I'm, you know, well, far away from that. So if you got any questions or comments or something else, maybe I can, you know, make a video on. Let me know. I know normally my videos are just me like talking and stuff, but since it's, you know, Christmas break, basically I'm off until like the 2nd. So hopefully I'm going to get a chance to make some more videos. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have. I appreciate your guys' time, and you know, thanks for watching.